Hello there and welcome to Doctor Who Radio Show. I'm That Story Goes N9, hopefully still am. And these are in no particular order.
Balls.
That's
Michael Shannon here. Glad to be here, David Aston, on the Doctor Who Radio Show. Always awesome to be here.
And we have some newcomers as well, I believe.
In all seriousness, no, I'm Matt from Florida.
We also have the old Doctor. Hello, old Doctor.
Yes, I'm the old Doctor. Hello.
And we also have Daniel Bertazon.
Yeah, hi guys.
Nice to have you, Daniel.
Hey.
And of course we also have Monk.
Hello.
And also the grumpy git from Wales. Who's completely slipped my mind. What is his name?
Howard.
Stephen Price. Come on, David. You've got to remember me.
Yes. We can never forget you, Stephen. So, first off,
like last time.
First off, the first thing we're going to discuss, viewers, is the newly discovered interview with William Hartnell from 1967. Not that long actually after he, passed on the role to Patrick Troughton, which is going to be included in, I believe, the 10th Planet DVD.
Talks about his balls.
Yes, well, let's talk about William Hartnell, not about his balls. Thank you, Matt. So, do you think this is rather sort of odd timing, everyone, considering that there's continuous rumours about missing episodes being apparently found or soon to be released or whatever?
You think they really had this and they were just keeping it aside for the 50th and then saying, hey, look what we found, just in time? That could be. They could have found it several years ago and thought, well, we're planning for the 50th.
Did they say where they found this or where it came about?
I'm not sure. They've had it on ice for several months, apparently.
Wow.
But it's him just being interviewed at his home. That's a casual thing.
Yeah.
Well, the story was the guy found there had been two who contacted some archives, and they said one of the interviews had long since been lost, but they still had this one. And they sent it over to him, and he saw it. At least that's what the story was on Who TV.
Ah.
Well, I don't want to change the subject, but I guess we should address that we've also got the name of the Christmas special.
Ah. Oh, you tell them then, Matt.
What was it? The 12 Balls of Christmas?
Well, no. It was actually called the 12th hour, not 12th hour, 12th night, because it's a sort of Christmassy type thing. But I bet you wish it was called the Bowls of Christmas. But
Possibly.
Yeah. But that's not really brand new news. That was revealed by several sources several months. I believe that's correct, isn't it, Daniel? Could have been doing the rounds before.
Yep.
Right.
So, do you think Matt Smith will be in this Christmas special?
Ah, good point. Because there is the suggestion that he's actually going to be leaving in the 50th, or perhaps sort of halfway through the Christmas special. What do you think about that, everyone? Do you think that's, likely, since he's had his hair shaved really short?
I don't know about his hair.
Well, could he regenerate at the end of the 50th? That's the big question, Wow, we get a full episode for the Christmas special of the 12th Doctor. That would be interesting, I wouldn't mind it. Bother me. I'd like to see Peter Capaldi in action a little bit. We're going to have to really wait for his season. But it would be cool to kind of get an idea. Yeah, this Doctor's going to be like.
Cannot wait to see Peter Capaldi.
Yeah.
I highly doubt it. I think he'll regenerate in the Christmas special, and we'll get maybe 30 seconds of Peter Capaldi at the end. We always do. I think what it amounts to is just when we have these long breaks where there's no episodes, people begin to rant and speculate about everything, and there's all kinds of crazy stories pop up.
Mm. It is called the 12th Night, so that's really like the 11th hour, or the Christmas invasion. That suggests that his involvement is going to be more than just potentially just a sort of change from idea, and it seems not a moment too soon. Ow, that sort of thing.
Right.
Try.
So Daniel, what do you think, since you're one of the newcomers to Doctor Who Radio Show? Thank you for joining us, it's really nice of you. If you could have any sort of events leading up to the 11th Doctor's regeneration, based on your knowledge of past Doctors regenerating, 5th Doctor, 7th Doctor, so forth, how do you think he would go? How would he exit centre left?
I don't know. I
always thought maybe he could reach at the end of the 50th, or like in the 50th, and the other Doctors that are present will generation into Peter Capaldi. That's how I always thought of it. That would have been kind of cool.
Do you think there's going to be some sort of surprise that potentially, there's my favourite word again, potentially, breaking with tradition?
I don't know. Maybe.
Well, in the same way that they had the twin dilemma at the end of Peter Davison's last season, that sort of thing, and they had Soretta McCoy wearing a fetching Colin Baker wig at the start of time in the bad script rather story. Anybody else at all?
I don't know what's going to happen. I just hope Peter Capaldi gets a lot of screen time.
Internet Movie Database has both Matt Smith and Peter Capaldi as starring in the Christmas special. That could mean Matt Smith's only in it for 5 minutes, or it could mean he's in it the whole time and Capaldi only comes in at the end, just like the last stuff. Just like when Matt Smith first appeared, just like when Eccleston first appeared, just like when they all first appeared.
Interesting.
I think the Doctor will. I think the Doctor will die and regenerate, trying to save somebody.
I like the idea. I like that idea that he might, the 11th might only have a few minutes of the, the Christmas special. That's really clever.
Juicy fruit.
Yeah, juicy fruit.
Juicy fruit.
Lovely. Oh, we love them in wheels, I love the idea of
Juicy balls.
Yeah, juicy balls, yes. This has happened before. So, basically, it's all really a case of what happens on the night. Tonight is the night, as John Barrowman would say. And another discussion subject, which I find rather interesting, is that Neil Cross, writer of probably the worst Doctor Who episode I've personally seen in ages, the Rings of Artamen, or as I call it, the Rings of Benny Hill. He's returning for season 8. It's rubbish.
That's not the worst episode.
Anyway, needless to say, he's coming back for season 8. But my point is, do we really want bad scripts for Peter Capaldi?
I want his scripts.
I can't stand him. He's Satan, Neil Cross.
Yeah, he also wrote Hyde.
He's Satan. That was an awful script.
Hyde is not a bad episode.
Just unmitigating pants. In the history of pants, from the very beginning of pants to the very end of the universe, when only a few pants survive, I do not want Neil Cross to have anything to do with the eternal wisdom of pantsdom.
Oh, well, balls to you, David.
Well, Ironic you mentioned pants, but there you go. What do you think? Should we have fresh blood, everyone, or have Neil Cross make a return?
Yeah, I'd like to see some new writers give it a go. Why not? Some fresh blood, like you said. Why not? Rings of Akatan, whatever. Wasn't that bad? I mean, we've had some worse episodes than that, right?
Oh, we had
Love and
Come on, it had the cool tune in it. Had the little girl singing. Come on.
But that was the only good thing about it was Matt Smith's speech and the song. I didn't. The episode itself is crap.
Is that your least like? What's your least favorite of the Matt Smith era?
Journey to the Center of the TARDIS.
that was your least favorite. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus.
Rings of Akatan.
Well, that's Joe's favourite story, isn't it? So, that's a good idea, actually. I'll go through everyone here, and you give your favourite and worst episode of the Matt Smith era. So I'll start with Daniel.
I liked Nightmare in Silver.
And your worst one, the one that...
Because... Well, the one I didn't like?
See.
What, you didn't like Nightmare in Silver?
It was okay. It was fairly okay. But which one did you hate the most out of all?
It was
these?
cool.
I think.
Monk, which is your favourite?
The
worst?
Power of Three.
My favorite? That's so hard to choose from. 3 years worth. A favorite of Series 7 or favorite of his whole 3 years?
Sandwich.
Smith era.
Mike, I can't seem to control this podcast. What's your favourite and least favourite?
My favorite episode is the first 30 minutes of the 11th hour. Love it.
Oh.
Thought the music was great. Up until we got those weird looking eyeball spaceship guys. Worst episode though, seriously, for me, probably The Curse of the Black Spot.
Yeah.
That threw me off a little bit. There should have been a little more explained in that episode, maybe. I don't know.
I don't see how anybody can dislike Nightmare in Silver. Nightmare in Silver actually made the Cybermen look like badasses. It actually placed the Doctor in a situation where he was nearly defeated.
It's depend. I mean, some people don't like the idea of the new Cybermen taking their body parts off. You know, there's different aspects of it. Like I thought it was cool, but others don't think that's cool. You know what I mean? They really upgraded. They're completely different now.
The only thing
really
about that
yeah.
episode was the kids in it. They shouldn't have had kids in it.
They definitely should not have them kids in it. Definitely not.
Yeah.
I agree. They should have saved that for a Sarah Jane Adventures type show. Kids with the Doctor, I don't know, it just throws me off. For a little bit. Now, with little Amelia Pond, I liked his interaction with her. Because she was a cool character. I kind of wish we saw a little bit more of her. That's the young Amelia.
I want to see more of it. So, old Doctor, favourite or least favourite Matt Smith story?
My favourite would be Hyde, and my least favourite would be A Town Called Mercy.
Oh, really? That's a bit curious. Because Hyde is a Neil Cross story. And A Town Called Mercy. What was your reason for disliking Town from Mercy? Matt, I'm talking. Shut up. What did you not like about Town Called Mercy?
Well, I didn't like the whole concept of it with the cyborg terrorizing the old western town. I didn't like the historical inaccuracies of it. You could obviously tell it was written by someone who was not an American. That's true. It was done kind of like a cheap western, and I'm a fan of western TV series, and they're like Gunsmoke and Bonanza. Those are more. I'm used to a higher quality of Western than that. That looked like some just superficially knew what a Western was supposed to be and stuck in a few cowboy hats and tumbleweeds.
Ah.
But it was very historically inaccurate.
It seemed a bit boring as well, didn't it? Really.
It was kind of boring. It kind of drug out. The reaction of the townspeople was very off. I mean, this is supposed to be the Old West. They would have been out there hunting this guy.
Yeah.
They would have been cowed down.
My least favorite episode would probably be anything where Amy Pond was the focus. Worst companion ever.
Well, you remember, Moffat was saying that he was writing where the companion was the main character, not the doctor.
Yes. But which episodes in particular, fave and least fave? Matthew?
Fave would probably be... I don't know what my favorite would probably be because, I skipped over the Crimson Horror. I didn't watch that episode yet. Well...
I like the one where I think my favorite, and it's actually more about the companion, is where there are two Amy's. One is 30 years older than the other. She had been waiting and waiting and waiting. And then the doctor lies because he can't allow her into the TARDIS.
Yeah, the girl who waited, yeah.
Yep.
I think it's fair to say that gave Karen Gillian a chance to stretch her acting abilities. That's it.
Yeah, she's going to be in Guardians.
Yeah, I think, I can see where Daniel was going. It's the whole feel to it was very sci-fi, and you don't really get to see her play two different Amelia Ponds. One's happy-go-lucky.
Have lemonade.
Yes, and the other is bitter, sort of, a girl who's waited and waited.
Yeah.
Thank you. Have you quite finished, Matthew? Yes.
I'm drinking my... What?
Yes. Yes, go up to your bedroom.
Jesus, David.
Yes, welcome to the high school. That's the way it goes, high school. So, I'm going to tell you all my favourite and least favourite.
What about me?
Yeah, what about, yeah.
Don't forget Howard.
Not again!
Well, you go on, Howard.
My favourite episode is
Well, that's all time we have
Vincent
for
and the
that
Doctor.
segment. So, no. Go on. No, go on.
Vincent and the Doctor, I did enjoy that one. My least favourite was the one where they're on that ship. What do you call it? Curse of the Black, whatever. Yeah. Where Rory dies again.
Oh, that's the episode name. Rory dies again. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
How come you guys didn't mention on the one with the balls? Dinosaurs on the spaceship.
All right.
Yeah. We're gonna have to have a word about you and your balls sometime.
Dinosaurs on the spaceship don't have balls, though. There was even a line about it.
No, but you probably find a way to
yeah,
make it
Rory's
true.
dad, right? There was a testicle joke thrown in that episode. Pretty good, though. Pretty good. That surprised me.
It did seem to me that the last couple of episodes were very not at all as good as season 5 or 6, and it really did show the weakness of the scripts, I thought. So let's move on to another subject, if I may, and Stephen Moffat, everyone, has yet again been complaining about criticism of his scripts being too complex. This time he's said something really odd, that people who complain about it are possibly a bit thick or something like that. Again, he's been rather sort of bitchy to Doctor Who fandom, or people who just simply point out, non-Doctor Who fans.
Or maybe the Doctor Who fandom's just been spoiled for so long.
So, this is a recurrent theme with him, though. He doesn't take criticism very well, does he, Daniel? He seems to get sort of...
Daniel doesn't... You're asking the wrong person, David. Daniel doesn't know.
Well, anybody answer that question. What do you think? Do you think Stephen Moffat is basically getting his panties in a twist?
I think Stephen Moffat has a better vision than people say he does. And the reason why you're going apeshit over all these unanswered questions, there's still time for them to be answered. The season's not over yet. You still have the 50th and the Christmas special and some of Series 8. I just think that he's not perfect. The hatred for him has been overblown by some people. Saying, if you think he's the worst showrunner ever, go back and look at John Nathan Turner. That's all I have to say.
Yeah, it does seem... That's true. John Nathan Turner was not entirely concerned with character development sometimes. And it has to be said, the better episodes of specifically the Peter Davison era and the Colin Baker era and the Sylvester McCoy era had a darkness to them and were taking Doctor Who in a new direction. Fresh
and
talent,
plus, some of the better episodes of the Who era, the new Who era, were written by Stephen Moffat.
Yeah. But he can't hack it.
Under Russell T. Davies, yeah, definitely that.
And it bears repeating that as far as casting the Doctor, he's a perfect 2-0 so far.
Do you think he's run out of steam? He's sort of taken his, story arc, flawed or not, to its sort of natural conclusion. He's got rid of the Ponds finally, and he's almost sort of sent the Weeping Angels into retirement.
Almost. I do think he's coming closer to the end than to the beginning.
Monk Mike, Doctor, what do you think?
Well, I think the problem with Stephen Moffat is he's got too many pots on the fire. He sets all these different clues and questions up, and then just gets distracted by something else and abandons. And I think a lot of what Matrix Lord had to say is true about the fact that he's got too many irons in the fire. He's trying to run Sherlock, he's trying to run Doctor Who, he's trying to do this, that, and the other thing. And I harken back to the days of producers like Philip Hinchcliffe, who were focused on a particular job, and that's what they did, and that's what made Doctor Who great. And I would like to see that happen in the future. Get a producer whose sole energy is put into this running this one show.
Yeah, of course. That's a very good point. And myself, Asperger's Star 2009, Joker Scribe, formerly known as IDS Scribe now, and many others, have pointed out that it happened to a certain extent. I think you all agree, Daniel, Mike, Monk, I think you all agree that it happened to a certain extent with R.T. Davies, but it's happened hugely with Stephen Moffat. He's been writing films, he's done Sherlock, he's been, in essence, he's like a father who's got several kids by different women. He's whoring himself to other unwanted children, and you ignore them. You try to ignore them, but the ex-girlfriends keep pestering you. I mean, well, I'm just talking about somebody else there, but you see what I mean. He didn't put anything on the end of it, basically, and it's come back to haunt him. I mean, that's somebody else again, isn't it? What do you think about that? Do you think that will, if he leaves soon, do you think there'll be a quality improvement in the fact that the producer or someone who takes over will be focused purely on the worlds of the TARDIS, the TARDIS?
Yeah,
I think the direction they got with Peter Capaldi might change that, because Moffat said that they prepared to take the Doctor in a new direction even before the Peter Capaldi casting, and they were writing with sort of him in mind the entire time. So we'll see.
Yeah, new showrunner. I guess it could go. It could be worse. It could be better. You know.
Yeah.
Shit, we might be crying to bring Stephen Moffat back in 5 years. I don't know. Hard to say.
Yeah,
We don't even know who would be.
The thing is,
We don't know who's even lined up for it at this point.
the thing is, as much as we critique the showrunner, none of us here would have the balls, excuse the expression, to do it. None of us.
Really? Are
thinks
you sure
it's-
about that?
None of us who thinks it's so easy to do it could get in there and do it.
I wouldn't say it's easy, but shit, I'd throw something in there, man, if I had the opportunity. I'm sure a lot of us would.
Well, I'm sure you would, but
But
none of us really know how restricting the BBC is, too.
That's a
Because
good
remember,
point.
true too, but you know,
because
I
remember
would
Russell,
give it a go if I had the
remember Russell
opportunity.
T. Davis' book that you mentioned, Mac, where he mentioned all the stuff he wanted to do, and,
Yeah.
and the BBC blocked him.
It's not easy. It's not just you go in there and create the stories. I mean, you do got to go, you know, with people above you and their opinions, and if they're going to let certain things slide or not, you know, for storylines, you know.
Yeah.
And I'm sure Stephen Moffat gets, you know, he's got people above him that say, no, you can't do that, or yes, you can do that. So yeah, you know, there's always that. But I would love, I'm sure any of us would love to give it a go and try to run the show, you know.
Yeah, but I'm just
But
saying.
you're
I'm
not
sure-
going to, but no matter what, I'm please everybody. You know, you're going to piss somebody off.
That's a good
You're
point.
always going to have somebody bitching.
A very good point there by Mike. So, old Doctor, do you think Mike's right that basically he's sometimes over defensive because he's had too much pressure, you know, restrictions by the BBC, and also been compared, just like Matt Smith to David Tennant, to Russell T Davies, and also, you know, the future being something that people are watching him on as well.
I think,
That's a possibility.
I think, given that he's sorry, but go ahead, old Doc. I'm
I'm
not
sorry,
gonna
I thought he asked me. I didn't know.
Yeah, I thought
go on.
so too.
No, yes,
Sorry.
Yes,
Do
yes,
it
go on,
again.
go on, old Doctor.
No,
You know, give us your wisdom.
I would just say that's a possibility. Being the second of anything is very much a pressure cooker, because you can look at Patrick Troughton. He's second Doctor. It all rested on him whether the whole concept of replacing the lead actor would work. And the same can be said of Stephen Moffat. He's the second producer since Doctor Who came back. So if he drops the ball, that could be the end of the show. So there is a lot of pressure there that won't be as much on the third, fourth, or fifth. However, that being said, I do think that he brings a lot of it on himself by doing other things at the same time. You know, I mean, if you got the pressure from Sherlock and the pressure from Doctor Who and the pressure from 1010, that's, you know, they're not forcing those things on him. He's bringing those on himself. And you take someone like Michael, if he were given the helm of Doctor Who, I would be willing to bet he would devote himself to Doctor Who. He wouldn't be out trying to do another show on the side.
Right, exactly. I'm sure all of us here would.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's how much fans of the show we are. But we want the show to prosper. You know, we want it to be good for everybody. We want more episodes and shit. You know, that's what we want. We want a proper season. We don't want so many questions. We just want simple sci-fi stories, really. Again, it doesn't really have to be that complicated to be good. You know, it really doesn't.
Right.
See, yeah. So,
what's the bell?
it's funny you should mention that, because as Joker's Scribe actually did say that Moffat was sort of thinking he was the bee's knees before he'd written even one episode. Do Do you think, everyone, this is actually the final days of the Moffat era, in essence?
Oh,
Well, it's coming to an end. It's like 2 years or what? I don't know. Is that two seasons or just 2 years on one season or?
Well, sort of 3 years, basically.
You guys know? I mean, I don't really know for sure. But yeah, I guess he's coming to his end where he's going to have to pass the torch to somebody else.
I hope. I can't stand this crap. He splits everything. Russell T. Davies didn't do this. You know what I mean?
And with Tennant, we had they were instead of a season, it was like Doctor Who specials. There were 4 of them. Then we had to wait weeks for the next one. Then we had to wait weeks for the next one. It's kind of the same, isn't it?
Well, the end of David Tennant. Well, yeah,
that's where Moffat got the idea.
That was kind of a shitty wait when we had the Tennant specials that year.
Especially when they weren't that great of a special.
Yeah, too.
It's just an episode.
That's true too.
Nothing special.
But again, I know we always pointed out, but man, Russell T. Davies, God, like it or not, he did. He had Torchwood going on, Sarah Jane Adventures. So that was a couple years for each show, which is almost 30 episodes of a year of Doctor Who universe stories, out there. Like, how cool was that? I used to love that.
It does seem like Russell T. Davies did the same thing, but better than Moffat. Because he had Doctor Who, had Torchwood, didn't he?
Yeah, well, you know what? When Doctor Who was off, we had to still wait, but then they popped on Sarah Jane Adventures. Then when that was off, then that was done, and bam, we had Torchwood. In the same. I know people don't always like those shows, but still, it was in the Doctor Who realm. So it was kind of cool. He was able to do all that, and still come up with pretty cool storylines for Doctor Who.
Do you think, everyone, that it also might possibly be the fact that when Russell T. Davies was showrunner, the show was on an all-time high, and everybody was loving it, and now it's sort of started to wane a little bit, and people are, more sort of naturally bitchy, less satisfied, so to speak.
Let's see. Over the last couple of years, I guess it got a little stale, but I think that has a lot to do with splitting it up. It's not even like I know in America over here we're used to different things, but I know our seasons were getting shorter for shows. But man, we were used to Quantum Leap, Star Trek, and all them having like over 20 episodes a year. So to me, it's Doctor Who, even with 13 episodes, seems short and shitty. Like, I wish it was more episodes. That for them to split 12, 13 episodes kind of sucks too.
I think
it's a weight. It's a weight.
I think it's 2 factors. It's what Michael said. It's splitting the season, and it's Moffat's overcomplicating the storylines with all these mysteries and hidden things. To a casual viewer just tuning in, they're not going to really understand what's going on, and all these hidden subplots and everything. That's for the dyed-in-the-wool New Who fan. But the casual viewer's not going to want to invest that much time and that much energy into trying to figure out what's going on. If they would go back to doing straight-up science fiction shows that the casual viewer could tune into and understand in 45 minutes, right, I think the ratings would go back up again. I mean, they could do that under the Davies era. You could tune in and watch it, and you pretty much understood it. But now,
any episode,
all the classic episodes.
Exactly.
Even if they were parters or 3-parters, still, the story was there, and it was done.
The long story arcs, you could still tune in to any episode.
Well, it's a perfect example of a good story arc.
Yep.
Definitely the key to time. Because even though you had each episode, kind of looking for the key, but each episode was different. Completely different from the next. Just good. All around good storytelling, and you can watch any Key to Time episode and not even really get the story arc of the looking for the key, and each episode was cool. I think.
Do you think
it's hard to do now with the newer episodes? there's so much mystery and what ifs and what's going on and this and that. And I know we're all here, we're all big fans of it, so we try our best to follow it and have our speculations. But man, this has been going on for a couple of years now with Stephen Moffat and all the, and it's getting a little tedious. And like Matt said, he could answer everything in the next 2 episodes, maybe, but I wouldn't really count on it. I think we'll get answers from the name of the Doctor, what happened in that episode in the 50th anniversary.
Should be able to figure that out when the episode has actually been shown. Though.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to get into the silence. I don't think they're going to get into the cracks again. I don't think they will. Or the TARDIS that the silence were building.
That's the whole point, though.
There's so many things.
He's supposed to be, giving answers to a lot of the things that have been, unanswered, going back to the very start of his era, So we may see the return of the silent, see things from a different perspective, perhaps. Yeah. But it'll be.
We'll just have to see. We're all just.
And it's not just like that. I mean, hey man, maybe it's going to take a showrunner 2 years from now to answer the silence and them building the TARDIS, and somebody will come up with a cool story. Like that's like us now watching it and wanting some answers, and maybe that guy or girl will close that, some of those story arcs up. You never know.
And that TARDIS that they had, a pilot has been found. I've noticed this, oddly enough, in a series called Arrow, which I've been watching. I'm up to episode 16 now, based on the DC comic character Green Arrow, not Green Lantern. And that suffers from the same problem. You have interesting ideas, characters that last one or several episodes and then get dropped, and that's another thing. And then there's been there's a very good article on What Culture about several recent episodes that should have been 2-part stories, such as the Angels and Manhattan thingy-majig. So do you think, everyone, that we need more episodes and perhaps more sort of classic cliffhangers?
Yeah, that would be nice.
Yep.
You know what it is, right? You're talking about the Angels. It's how they say, well, the Doctor doesn't like it, the end or the end of a story or whatever. But I think it's Stephen Moffat doesn't like an end. He likes to leave things open. Angels Take Manhattan, me personally, if they just would have ended it when Amy and Rory jumped off the building and they died. That was it. You know what I mean, man? There you go. As horrible as that is, but they leave it open, and then they want to say that the Doctor can never go get them because they're in this bubble and all this. That's kind of corny, really, isn't it? Though.
Yeah.
And what gives something the right that the Doctor can't in time to go save somebody? Like, you know what I'm saying? It just doesn't make any sense. And your viewers that are newer to the show, that's kind of the stuff they're not going to understand because they're watching a time travel, or maybe they're getting into the story. Like, who's going to make sense of that? Like, why can't he go back to the 1930s and just go get them? Oh, there you guys are, and go get them. Or even the girl, that's one of Stephen Moffat's original stories with the first Angel story, where you had what's her name? Blink, with Sally Sparrow, and her friend that got stuck back in. Like the Doctor couldn't go back and get her. And wrap that up.
If only Moffat could have done every single one of his stories, the big stories, like Good Man Goes to War, as good as that. I mean, seriously, would have had tons of classics on hand, and we'd be speaking. More
sometimes it's cool to just put a sudden end to something. Just put an end to it. Because we're going to talk about why can't he go get Amy and Rory forever unless they actually do it somehow.
I mean, he could have
they
always
should have just died if they were going to die.
And just Jersey City and cross the bridge.
You're dead. You're dead. You're dead. That's it. And that's called a sort of no way out sort of ending, isn't it? Really.
But then yet River can go there and give Amy a story to put in a book or whatever. What the hell is that? It doesn't.
Okay, what that is take a story and you put a self-limiting constriction on it, like, okay, the Doctor can't travel to the 30s, or use Smallville as an analogy. Okay, Clark Kent can't fly. That's okay for the first or second season, but then when you get into the later seasons, when all the other Kryptonians can fly, he looks like a retard. And the same is going to be true of the Doctor. You know, how come River Song can go back there with her cheap little 51st century Walmart time travel device, but the TARDIS can't go back? You know, that doesn't make any sense. It's the same kind of a thing. You can't put that kind of limits on storytelling and not come away jipping yourself later on down the road.
I mean, if you don't want it to go back there, you could explain it that way, but at least give an explanation as to why he can't come back there.
But that's the problem, though. That's a dead end sort of ending.
And I know they put limitations on shit in the classic series, like the Doctor. Like the Doctor can't go to he couldn't go to E-Space, but he can. You can figure out a way to get there.
It's like in American shows, they don't kill off characters, and actually keep them dead. They all seem to bloody come back. And like I've said to many other people, it's a bit pointless. If you have a really good last hurrah for a character, you kill the bastard off, and then they just come back a year later, like Tasha Yar or whatever. It's
well, honestly, we have to remember too. It's a show, and if you look hard enough, you'll be able to find plot flaws in just about anything. Yeah.
That's not true. I mean, that's not true on all shows.
No matter how tight you look at it, you'll be able to find something at some point.
The thing is, it's too easy. Yeah, that's what I mean. It's too easy. They're right in front of your face.
No, you can't go back, because when they went back, they created a timeline, and everyone they interact with, and if he went back and got him, it would alter that timeline and change history.
Yeah, but wouldn't that be true with anybody he visits in the past?
It's like he can't save Pompeii. Certain things are set.
Yeah, but what gives something the right that can be set and other things that can be disturbed? Like, you know what I'm saying?
No, they never said why Pompeii was set. You can't go back and prevent it. Pompeii, you can't go back and prevent it. But minor.
Yeah, but what's Amy and Rory? What's major about that?
They create a time they even have children and grandchildren who would not exist.
Because the event of losing Amy and Rory affected the Doctor's life so much. The event of losing Amy and Rory led him to Clara because of Pop. If they didn't die there, he would have never met Clara, and his whole time stream would never have been affected.
Okay, but I will see Amy and Rory and raise you Sutek. Now, we saw what the 1380 if Sutek had been allowed to go his own way, and the entire human civilization had been wiped out. Now, the Doctor went back and changed that. I'm thinking that's a little bit bigger than Amy and Rory, and yet he was able to show us both versions.
Yeah. And that's a major event. Yeah. That would be major.
Because everything that came after 1980 would have been different.
Right.
I suppose there's only so much surgery the Doctor can do. He can't go and bring Amy back.
But being a time traveler, no matter what you're doing, you're changing history no matter who you're bumping into.
Exactly.
Because if you weren't there, shit would have went differently. You know what I mean? They overcomplicate it. I know, like, we can get deep into it, but they put rules on certain shit that doesn't really make sense.
And that's all time we have on Doctor Who Radio Show. I have been That's the Way It Goes 9, and these gentlemen,
and I have been arguing with Jack.
These gentlemen who have been with us have been. Goodbye, everybody. So say goodbye, everybody, one by one. It's been a brilliant.
See you later, guys. Have fun. See you in the future.
The old Doctor.
See everybody, and have a nice balls.
Goodbye, everyone, one by one.
Stephen Price and I want you.
Alright, bye, guys.
See you in hell.